Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and this is a video I've wanted to do for a while, but I wanted to have a better understanding of it before I was talking about it. Now, this next month, February 2017, marks 5 years that I've been running my channel, and 2016 was the first year that I ran my channel as my full-time primary source of income without any temp jobs, without any part-time work or full-time work or whatever. My entire focus in 2016 was my channel, and I'm not going to lie, it was the best fucking year of my life. The best year of my life. Barring one instance involving SWAT teams in my front door, but other than that, best year of my fucking life. And 2017 is definitely going to kind of be going down that same path. I'm very excited for the future, which is not something I was many years ago. YouTube has actually enabled me to kind of have a better outlook on life, which is amazing, and I love it, and I'm so thankful that I'm given this opportunity to do it. But that being said, there's still one aspect of YouTube that I feel a lot of us going into the game don't fully understand, and that is the yearly complete sting that comes from taxes. Now, this here is my H&R Block packet. I filed my taxes yesterday, and that packet represents the biggest financial payout I've ever had to do in my entire life. When they told me how much money I owe the state and the federal government, I had to pick up my jaw from the floor, and I didn't stop kind of like nervous laughing for at least a solid 45 minutes until it completely set in. It's a lot. I'm not going to tell you how much it is. I'm not going to tell you what I make. None of that stuff even really matters because it's not what this is about. Just that what happened yesterday was one of the most eye-opening experiences of my entire adult life. A lot of us like to joke that we did adulting, that we I went out and I got a job, I'm adulting. I went out and I paid the bills, I'm adulting. Paying your taxes, that is adulting. Oh my God, that is... Anyway, but what I learned from it is, I think, the bigger takeaway here. What I learned from that whole experience is going to set me up for success in the future. And that's one thing I want to kind of impart on people today. If you want to do YouTube as a living, do it. It is awesome. I can't recommend it enough, even with the incident involving the cops and shotguns in my front door and me crying. But that's entirely its own thing. But ultimately, it's a great job. I love what I do. It's a career. I wake up every day and I get to talk about what I want to talk about. And that's awesome. But even though I'm my own boss, I'm still beholden to particular things like state tax and federal tax and things like that. In the state of Oregon, there is a 9% income tax. And that, I did not know about that. See, that's one of the things. Is like I wasn't fully aware of where I stood in the tax bracket. I thought I was at a certain percentage due to what I was estimated to make. And so I prepped for that particular percentage. However, that extra 9% is kind of what came in at the very end, bent me over and just gave it to me without lube. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to make this is I really wholly recommend, if you want to do this, if this is something you are seeking to do, consult a tax preparer, find an accountant, H&R Block, whatever they have at Walmart. I want to say Hewlett Packard, but I also don't think that's accurate. But ask questions and shit, because when you are doing this as a job, you kind of open yourself up to potential auditing, right? Because people who are self-employed will get audited more often than anyone else because we have the ability to write off certain things. We have the ability to kind of explain away certain things for our job. And sometimes the government does not want to agree with you on that, and they won't let you claim it. And that is something that happens quite frequently. So you want to be as prepared as humanly possible. If you are a vlogger and you're driving, log your miles, log your gas, keep your receipts. You can get apps for that now where you can just plug it in. I wholly recommend going and getting QuickBooks. It's like $5 or $10 a month. You can import your bank statements and you can keep a financial record of everything you spend, and you can budget yourself. Also, QuickBooks is a good way of just keeping track of everything and also budgeting yourself. And again, that's like $30 is just what that program costs. And no, they didn't pay me, but I recommend solid accounting software just for making sure your records are accurate. Because when you do this as a job, for a long time, the government looked at it as being more of a hobby. And so if you were to go to the IRS and say, hey man, I do this as a job. I record videos for the interwebs and talk about things. They may not look at it like it's a job, look at it as it's more of a hobby, therefore taxing you more money and not allowing you to write off as many things as you can. Also, I can't stress this enough. Get a business license in your city. You can write it off for one. Two, it enables you to treat it as more of a job, as a business, as your career. And that ultimately is what YouTube is. A lot of people out there who do YouTube, I don't ever fully think they pay that close attention to everything that goes on with it. And that's not a dig at them, but if you really want to pay attention, go and check out a couple of your favorite YouTubers around, let's say, middle of March to April 15th when taxes are due. Although this year it's April 18th, so a couple extra days. And just go on their Twitter and read when they start talking about their taxes, because they will, because they'll be bitching about them. And the reason for this is we don't pay taxes on what we get. Right? When you start getting money and it's coming in monthly, right? You're like, oh man, I'm making bank, or I'm making money. I can afford this. I can afford this. I can afford this. And a lot of people out there don't think that you still have to kind of pay on the back end, right? You still have to pay the government, the IRS, taxes based on that money, and how much money you're earning defines how much money you have to pay. Again, the different brackets. Right now, I believe there are 5 or 7 brackets under Trump's tax plan. He wants to make it 3 brackets. So it's very odd how it's going to play out. But the thing is, you want to be fully prepared for when it does come time to pay your dues to the government. Okay, and that is something to be very, 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 very wary of. Because the last thing any of us want is to be audited. It's always better to be prepared. And that is something, honestly, it was a hard lesson for me to learn, because I couldn't write off as much stuff as I think I could have from 2016 because I didn't keep appropriate records. I kept most of my receipts. I thought I kept pretty much all of my receipts. I was not able to find them. I moved a lot of stuff around. My record keeping isn't as good as it should be. That is going to change. And I was not able to keep track of a lot of things. And as a result of that, I was not able to deduct my taxable income very much, or as much as I thought I would. And so that's one of the reasons why what I have to pay to the federal government hurts even more, because that kind of stuff could have been avoided had I been paying closer attention. And again, it's all a learning experience. And the reason why I'm making this video and the reason why I'm telling you guys these things is because I want you to be more prepared. When it comes time to pay the government, when it comes time to pay that piper, right, you should have all of your documents in a row, everything ready to go, everything locked and loaded. And if you're thinking to yourself, I'll just do my taxes myself, that won't be much of a problem. If you are treating it like it's a business, I fully recommend H&R Block or an equivalent, or if you know an accountant in your real life, pay them the money, because it's for one, it saves you a lot of hassle. Doing your taxes on your own when trying to write off business expenses, it gets really confusing based on the wording, based on how things break down, and it can cause you to either overclaim something or underclaim something, which then does open you up for an audit, especially if you're claiming everything. If you're going every morning and getting a cup of coffee and writing off that cup of coffee, they might take a little bit of offense to that. They might take some issues. I don't know. You gotta be wary of what the laws are, for one, in not only your state, but what the IRS dictates anyway. And that is why a tax professional is the way to go. Never mind the fact that going to H&R Block for me allows me to write off that fee next year, which will then help me kind of reduce my taxable income then. So that is something also to consider. This is an awesome job. It is a great job. It is a tremendously cool experience to have and to be in the position of self-employment. And if you are wanting to be a YouTuber, or if you are a YouTuber and you're just starting off and you don't know what to do with taxes, because maybe you're with an MCN and your MCN doesn't send you the 1099. Google will send you a 1099, but an MCN won't. So then you have to go through and manually calculate all of those payments. And you have to manually calculate everything you would get from Patreon, for example. Although they are cool and they do send you an end of the year summary with how much you made, so that very much plays into it. So they'll offer you some help, but it's still up to you to work with a tax professional in order to be able to accurately and effectively file your taxes. Because it's when you look at it right away and you look at how much money you owe, it's going to suck. But if you make a conscious effort every month you're paid to take out a percentage of that, throw it in an account, don't look at it, just create a side account. Hell, you can go to a credit union and create an interest-based savings account, throw all of your money in there, and you earn interest all year. I mean, sure, you're taxed on the interest, so that sucks too, but it's working for you a little bit more than just sitting in a bank account, right? And so that way, you're able to then be more prepared when it comes time to pay the government. Also, another thing, just maybe you want to look into would be quarterly tax payments. Now, this is something I just learned about, and I don't really know if it's like forced upon you in certain cases. My tax professional did not tell me that it was required, but she did recommend it. What she recommends is that I just look at what I believe I'm going to make, subtract out the taxes for that. Like I do a tax calculator, they'll help me figure it out. And then every 3 months, I just send a check off to the government. And if I overpay, I will then get money back at the end of the year, or I just then pay it off. All right. And it helps kind of alleviate the sting. Because for me, I was putting it all in an account all year, and you start looking at that number and you go like, oh, well, that's like, I'm not going to have, I'm going to have leftovers and shit. No. Again, gotta be prepared. And I really want everyone out there to be as educated about this as humanly possible. So if you are a YouTuber and you very much want to do this full time, log everything. Mileage, Netflix, Hulu, gaming subscriptions, internet, power, everything you do can be a write-off to an extent. It will help you reduce that taxable income and alleviate some of that sting. But I do fully recommend talking with a professional. Yeah, it might cost you some upfront money. Yeah, you may not want to part with that right away, but it's better than being audited in the future, which is going to be a lot larger of a hassle and just a huge pain in the ass. So with a little preparation up front, you actually save yourself a lot of hassle in the future. And that's just kind of what I wanted to share. I just wanted to share those tips and that information. Because this is awesome, and I don't want anyone to get screwed over by the government in that regard, and it's always better to have information than to not have it.